Welcome, everybody. Joe Tarnowski with ECRM, and I have with me today Paul Starkey, who is the founder and managing director of NeoG, which offers a range of medical-grade orthopedic and sports supports like this one for all ages and body types. So I actually got this one sent to me by them and had a good opportunity to use it last week, and it worked brilliantly. So, Paul, thank you so much for joining us. And to start off with, can you give us an overview of NeoG and what you do and who your customers are?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do in terms of the company, set out to create a company with a range of products that was going to be in the compression area in the first instance, which is now morphed into many other things. But in the beginning, that was the way it was. But the idea was to make sure that the products that we had were medical grade, first and foremost. And we found that that is exactly what the market needed and what the market wanted. Of course, sports people use these things, and they do also buy them from sports shops and places like this. We don't really sell particularly to sports shops. We sell mainly into pharmacy, into the medical sector. And it's not that any other person's or company's product is worse than ours. It's just that we go the whole 9 yards to make sure that our products meet every medical condition that we could possibly run into, from allergies, the measurement of compression, the way in which things are actually made. We actually utilize orthopedic design engineers on all of our products. We just don't use, for instance, let's just say a designer. And really, this is really what has created our opportunity in the marketplace. We now, I don't know, 11 years later, in America, for instance, we've been going in the States for about 5 years now, and we're doing business with Walgreens. We're doing business with Rite Aid, really great business. Everyone's very, very happy. Our products sell extremely well. Our sell-through rate is quite extraordinary. I won't go into that, how extraordinary, because it's not the right thing to do, but we're extremely happy, and so are our customers. Not just on the products that we're selling in terms of compression, we also now undertake a great deal of product development in the foot care area, diabetes. Certainly the foot care end is going unbelievably well. And again, it's all the medical grade story again and again. And this is what's jumping off the shelf. And this is what people are looking at. And they're saying, well, I want a sports support, but I do want a sports support because I've got a problem. So if you've got a problem, you do want something that is going to be medical grade and designed specifically to do that job. And that's where we seem to be winning very well.
Excellent. So now you use the term medical grade. Can you talk about, dig a little deeper, and what does that mean exactly, as opposed to something that is not medical grade?
Okay, well, it's a very loose area, because this is actually these are all class 1 medical devices. They're not class 2 or 3. They're simply class 1, but they're registered in the first instance with the FDA. In the UK, it's with the English authorities, the same as the FDA. The FDA don't actually trial anything in that regard for class 1 devices. You register them, and they're registered, and the products themselves are made to be at a medical grade in terms of the materials that we use. We always try to use materials which would not give you an allergic reaction. And that's very important to us. So we don't have any raw edges on our products at all. We never do. That's very important when it comes to neoprene. We never use any latex at all, for any reason at all. There's a great deal of latex allergic reaction out there, and you've got to be careful about this kind of thing. Certainly in terms of the design, we use orthopedic design engineers, and these people understand the anatomy, and they, instead of having, when you're cutting material, you don't cut it on a flat surface. What we do is we cut it on a flat surface, but then we spring the pattern so that it really does meet the contours of the body part that it's going to work on. So very much that's the way in which, we go about it. We do as much as we can do to keep it as safe as possible for people and to be as effective as possible.
Well, I certainly noticed that. Just a little backstory for everybody. Paul's team sent me a few samples based on my particular needs. I have a bad knee, a bad back. I have a tennis elbow, so I've been testing them out. And yes, they fit great. They move well. And what's funny is this one was sent as an extra. I didn't have an issue with my hand or wrist. And then I just happened to tweak my thumb in a jiu-jitsu class. So I wore this, and actually the support all around the thumb was great. I mean, it didn't bother me at all. I was able to continue training with it. So, so just personally, great job on these, and comfortable, and they don't ride up. They don't, undo or anything. They stay where they're supposed to stay. So, it's worked out well. So
all I can say is, whew, thank you. Okay.
And I really did use the hell out of it. So, so who is your typical customer? It seems like you have a wide range of people.
Yes, very, very wide. We, for the younger crew, the more sporty and active, up to professional sports people, we very much put ourselves out as a medical answer for their sporting needs, because that's what they're looking for. Many people look to enhance the game that they're playing or the actions that they're doing, and obviously you can. These can help. In the older set, the more mature audience, this is all about, well, let's just say comfort, confidence. And I think this is a very, very big issue. When you get a little bit older, you become a bit weaker. And this gives the compression, the confidence, both in terms of it being medical grade and stating that, and to the product's performance. So when it's on, the more mature audience will always feel that they're more secure in their action and the way they're walking or the way that they're going about their daily life. So I mean, it's a very, very wide range. And I have to say, very wide range indeed. And we never expected that, to be honest with you. It's been a crazy ride, the way that things have gone. And in America, we're now having such incredible success, and it's everybody's buying it. And so for their own reasons. And it seems that, what's on the box, they go to our box. They seem to love our box. And then, well, retailers don't like this much, but they do open them up and look at them and they want to get their hand in and see what it feels like. And obviously the materials we're using are obviously appealing.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, I would do that too. I'm guilty of that myself, checking out the materials and what I've seen. And this is completely anecdotally, but I think it's indicative of a larger trend, is that over the past few years, I myself have been on a health journey, a lot of working out. I turned 50 this year. A lot of my friends in my age group, they've also over the past few years been looking to get healthier. Yeah. And then I think the pandemic has kind of really raised everyone's level of awareness on the benefits of wellness and longevity. So more people are starting, either they've gained weight over COVID and they're trying to get it off, or they've just accelerated their wellness efforts so that they're in better shape in case we do have another pandemic. So for me, especially my age, I get bumps and bruises and things, things that don't work like they used to work, a little arthritis here and there, tendonitis. Are you seeing that happen in general among your consumer base, where people are a little more active these days, even the older people, so they're going to need these a little bit more?
Well, very much. I mean, we for that very particular reason, we've just created a new range of products called the Active range. We don't want to go out and say for the big professional sports person, but sports people are buying these, and professional sports people and older people as well, just being active. And we've created this range specifically for that. But what we found now is that people are self-diagnosing now. Insurance costs, co-pays are going up. And not just in America, but throughout Europe as well. Governments are not allowing, we have free medicine over here to a reasonable degree. And governments are now cutting back and saying, look, we can't give you everything for nothing. And so this is all happening. And so therefore people are self-diagnosing, they're going in, and what is on the box and the explanation of what the product does is vital. Because these people are going in and reading this and going online and reading this, and they're having to make their own decision. Not a doctor's not telling them what to wear in every instance. So it's really important. And our boxes have been really key in this, really key.
It's interesting that you mentioned the self-diagnosing, because I think you're right on point with that. I've been doing buyer interviews at our sessions across all the categories. And the one thing I'm hearing again and again, whether it's food or beverages or beauty, is that consumers are far more educated now about ingredients and the things that go into their products, especially about what they put in or on their bodies. They're more educated now than they ever have been before. Sure, during COVID, they had a lot of time to stay home and look up things. But this has been going on before COVID. If you notice a lot of, and I mentioned this a couple of times in the past in other categories, is that if you listen to like some of the popular podcasts like Joe Rogan, Tim Ferriss, or there's some other health and wellness one, these guys are bringing on doctors and kinesiologists and PhD scientists in movement and health and wellness. So I think just in general, people have a better understanding of what to do, and they're applying that. It's
really great because to have that level of understanding from the general public. There's a little mini revolution going on in terms of healthcare, and it's not just in America. It's all over the world, and it's happening everywhere. In Europe, it's happening. We see it happening in the Far East. We see it happening. As a company, what we try to do, what I've always tried to do, is to centralize our sales teams. I centralize them out of the UK, but they're all in America. They're in America all the time. They're everywhere. The reason for this is not because of anything other than the fact that by doing that, my key salespeople go to visit customers in all the different countries around the world. They get all of that fabulous information, all that feedback, all that data. They get all of the needs, the wants, the dislikes, and they hear everything. And that makes them so effective. They come back, they bring that information, that data back. We work on it with new product development, and then we create and we take it to market. And, we're light years ahead of so many other people, because many other companies, because I think what they do is we'll have a European sales team, we'll have an American sales team, and then you only know what's going on in America. What you need to know is what's going on in the world, because we've got these things now, computers. So, people know.
Yeah, and a lot of people in Europe, when I've spoken to a lot of European buyers, they say they will come to what were formerly our US sessions. Now everything's global, but they would come to the US to get a sense of what trends are going to be coming over there in a year or two. So you're right. It's a good way to do it. And you mentioned your packaging before, and I think that's also an important point, is to make sure you call out everything that they're going to need to know to make that purchase decision on that packaging.
Yeah, there's a paint company based in the UK, and it's called Ron Seal, and their advert is very simple. It just goes, and it does what it says on a tin. And that's exactly what I always try to do with our products. It's got to do what it says on the tin. You've got to be clear. You've got to be concise. You've got to let people know what it's all about. And if you do that, they can make an informed decision.
Yep. And so you have so many products, and, retailers don't always have a lot of space. Yep. How do you work with the retailers to kind of determine what the optimal mix and the merchandising and the messaging will be on the shelf?
Well, we are constantly working with buyers, as I say, around the world. So it's when we speak with buyers, we have that opportunity to chat with them and say, well, this is going great in Europe. This is going great in the Far East. Mm-hmm. This is going great down under. And they look at all this stuff and they go, okay, this is great. Okay, good information. I'm not going to utilize it right now because I want to put it on the side, think about it for next season, but we're constantly inputting. Mm-hmm. So yes, we do have a large range. But there's always key elements, knee, wrist, ankle, the things that really go wrong.
Your basics, you got your basics that everybody's having a problem with. Yeah.
You've got to have them in. And then they look at other things and go, oh yes, but that looks really cool. That would really work for us. And then they look at their data, they look at their sell-through rate, mm-hmm. they know what's going on. Mm-hmm. It's really a matter of just, informing the buyers. The buyers are great people. They got a tough job. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to see their inbox on their emails. Yeah. It's horrifying. So, and I know my guys are guilty of this as well. All right. And I tell them, don't bug them too much, but let them know we're there. That's, yeah.
Well, and I would guess like if let's say for some stores that might be located near a college that's got sports teams or something, you may have a little bit mix more skewed towards that. Or
yes, it's constantly like that. A great many of the retailers, they have a very eclectic mix that they require because they have got their college pharmacies or their college shops. Mm-hmm. They've got their city, their metropolitan shops. Then they've got their country, and there really are quite an eclectic mix of products that go out there. Mm-hmm. And you wonder why did they choose that? Well, then the buyer says, well, you know what? They're out in the boondocks. Okay, there's a lot of people like going shooting. And they want knee pads, and they want a rest for their gun or whatever it may be. I don't know, fishing and it's a different life all over the place. So mm-hmm. they have to be really savvy about what they buy and how they buy it.
Yep. Well, at least you got something for almost every part of the body, pretty much.
Praise God, please. Yes, we do.
Well, excellent.
You count.
Yes. So, tell us a little bit about your ECRM experience, because you've been to a couple of sessions both in the US and in Europe, and how long have you been coming, and how has your experience been?
Well, I think we're about to do our 5th ECRM, mm-hmm. and in America, and it's always generally between Boston and Denver. Mm-hmm. Although we had a beauty in San Diego. Gotcha.
And that's the healthcare ones that you go to, right?
Yeah, that's right. In the main, we're looking at doing others because there's a crossover. We want to do more because we think they're fabulous. Mm-hmm. In America, well, you guys have just got it absolutely licked. It's like an orchestra playing. You know exactly what you're doing. Everything goes by the book. There's no problems because you don't allow there to be any. Now that's not the same. Europe is different. But the people that attend in Europe, their jaw just drops and they go, "There's buyers here," just buyers here. You never get to see them normally. They're kind of like the what do you call it in Pennsylvania? The groundhog. Oh. Okay. In Europe, they never turn up, but they do at your places, at yours, and it's very cool the way that you see the reaction of all of the manufacturers and the brands that go there shopping around and looking, and it's a completely new experience for them. And I think you're going to get a lot more traffic going over to America because they want the full fat experience mm-hmm. of an ECRM in Boston and eat crab at the same time. They want everything. So you guys do a great job. Unbelievable.
And you've had a few wins on both sides of the pond, right?
Yeah, we have. We've had great wins. We're as I mentioned, we're doing a fabulous job with Walgreens, a great job with Rite Aid. We've got some really big ones who are about to come on, and that's great too. It's the growth that's coming from merely being at the ECRM and being, sometimes it's not always about what you've got there on your stand that day. It's the fact the buyer comes around and say, you were here last year, weren't you? And you were here the year before. I like that. You've been around. So that gives me confidence. And that's true. It really is true. It's a confidence builder too. So, yeah.
Excellent. And then how are your European successes? Which can you talk about the retailers you've got?
Yeah, we're in ATOS at the moment, which is absolutely fantastic. It's really strange because we're an English company, and then but the first place we come after England is America, and because Europe is a little bit on the fragmented side, let's say, and when it comes to things like the rules and regulations surrounding medical devices and getting the proper certifications. So that's a little bit more difficult over there, but it's starting to change, thank goodness. So yes, Europe, we've got two big ones coming on, which I can't mention at the moment, but certainly I can mention ATOS, which is extremely well thought of. Austria, Holland, in those particular countries. We seem to have something going really big that's going to be happening in Germany, which we're extremely pleased about. And Italy. France is a little more difficult. They run a very different ship there. But once you actually start to understand their system, there's loads of opportunity there, loads. So
you're doing business in so many different countries. Europe's got to be a little bit of a challenge because, like you said, you go to the US, you have this huge country and it's all one unit. Now you're dealing with 20 some odd countries and they're right all around you, but it's still, they're close, but it doesn't make it any easier.
Yeah. But what's great is, with ECRM doing this, it's bringing them together. And that is really a really important way to look at it, because normally they have shows from a particular country, and you go there and all you see are people from that country, whereas ECRM shows are like, everybody come on, everybody get in, and then you get to see a much wider range of product, buyer, seller, manufacturer. So that's really helpful for people like us. We really take advantage of that. We have offices in with warehousing. I don't do much business in terms of third-party distribution like that. I like to own my own warehouses and my own distribution. So we have that in Shanghai, in the UK, in Istanbul, just opened up in Dubai, and obviously in West Palm Beach, in America, Vancouver. And it's really fantastic. So we've got our own distribution. We're in control. And one of the big things about our company is we break our back to deliver. We will deliver come what may. If I have to fill a 747, I will fill it, and I will choke on the price, but I will do it. Because you have to keep the customers happy, and they need to know that you're fighting for them and making sure they get what they want when they need it, because you can't sell fresh air. No, it's a fact.
That's right. So what are your thoughts on the virtual? So you've done our in-person and you've done the virtual. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I really like I like the virtual, and in as much as, of course, it's always great to press flesh, be there face to face, but you do get a face to face. You might not be able to shake a hand, but you can go face to face. And the conversation we're having at the moment proves that we're able to really converse and in a really meaningful way and get our points across. So if you can do that, that's what sales is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was a lot of surprises for us on just how well the buyers embraced the virtual platform, because it's become so more efficient, made their lives a lot more efficient, that a lot of them are going to more sessions. Some of them may have gone to 2 or 3 in person. Now they're going to 8 or 9.
Well, I mean, it's nice because then the buyer really can pick and choose. And that's important too, I mean, the meet the buyer session, that's like theater. It's incredible the way people go in, and they've got different ways of taking their things around, and you know, and the buyers are there, and they're going, you know, I'm not the right buyer for this, but I'm going to see it. But this way, you can get exactly the right buyer, and you can speak with exactly the correct person you need to, instead of a buyer that's not really in that sector, but they're covering for somebody who couldn't make it, kind of thing.
And that happens a lot at like a traditional expo type of environment where it's they're sending a limited amount of people. So that's great. So what's coming up next for NeoG? What's coming up next that you could talk about?
Oh, that I can talk about. Well, we have now just launched our new foot care, a fabulous range of truly orthopedic quality insoles. Not your comfort insoles kind of that you see on the shelf in most shops that are made from gel or something like that. They're comfort. They serve a purpose. Yes, they do. But if you have got a foot problem, you really do need an orthopedic product, which is manufactured to those standards, and that's what we do. So that's a new one. The diabetic range that we have, we're starting with stockings. We're starting with leggings. We are going to be moving into other areas. Eye care. We are going to be bringing out a range of eye care products, misting for glasses, for contact lens use. Certainly, and just growing more of what we've got. The foot care for a whole range of disabilities, not just the insoles, but we've got specialist arch supports, plantar fasciitis, and all of these products already just starting to go on the shelf, and they're selling through. I couldn't be happier, and we're getting it right. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but we are putting out very relevant products, and the whole medical grade story is really making this happen.
Excellent. Well, I wish you the best of luck at our upcoming sessions, and hopefully we'll see you at the Global Market Full Experience as well.
You certainly will. I apologize completely for this awful thing.
Hey, that's the world we live in now. So it's just part of the way things are. So,
well, fabulous. I cannot thank you enough.
Thank you.